Beginners in solar installation should avoid these common mistakes. Mistake number one, underestimating energy needs. Now, before you install a solar power system, you must carry out what we call a load audit. You must, assess the loads that will be powered by the solar system. You must take all loads into consideration from the laptop charger, your phone charger, up to the television, the refrigerator, the air conditioner, the water heater, and other heavy appliances or loads that you are going to use on the solar system. Now, you must take into consideration the power rating of those appliances. Then you also take into consideration the runtime hours. That is the number of hours those appliances, each of those appliances will be used per day. So if you know the wattage of that appliance and you know how many hours you're going to use that appliance, you multiply the wattage by the hours. It will give you the daily energy consumption of that load. So you must take into consideration your total daily energy consumption. Now, underestimating the energy needs of a client or your solar system will make you to install a solar system that will not be efficient. That is, the solar system will not be able to supply or to supply the required energy that is needed for those loads to run. It will not be able, the solar panels, where you underestimate the energy needs, you will not be able to get the proper size of the solar panels you need, the proper size of the battery bank, the proper size of the inverter and the charge controller. Now, when you are not able to properly size these solar components, the solar system will not efficiently serve you. And if you install it for a client, you'll always be having issues because the clients will always be calling you to come and fix the system. And most times you become confused. You will not know where the problem is coming from. There may be a load there that is dragging or taking much power from the battery bank. There is a load there that is far higher than what the solar panels are generating. And that load is consuming almost all of the energy that is being generated by the solar panel. Now, you cannot know this when you do not carry a proper load audit. That is, you fail to assess all the loads that will be used in a solar power system. So as a beginner, whenever you're called upon to install a solar power system, take pains, be patient with the client to know the loads that that client is using, and you try to know the total daily energy consumption of each of those loads so that you will be able to install an efficient solar system that will serve that client. Mistake number two is poor placement of solar panels. Now, ideally, solar panels are supposed to face directly to the sun. That is, they are supposed to face the sun directly because they are receiving the energy from the sun. The solar panels are the generators. So they need the sun's energy to convert to electrical energy. So when you install them in a place, in a location where the panels are not properly facing the sun, they will not be able to generate enough energy during the day when the sun is available. In Nigeria, the panels should face south and they should be installed at angle 15 degrees. That is, they should slant at angle 15 degrees and they should be facing south because that's where they will generate much of the energy during the day. In other words, you should install your solar panels where the solar panels will receive sunlight from morning till evening where the sun will set. So always install the solar panels to properly face the sun where they will receive enough energy from the sun from morning till evening. Now, failure to install the panels to properly face the sun will make those solar panels not to harness the energy during the day, sufficient amount of energy during the day to store in your battery bank. So you must take this into consideration and don't make the mistake of, because you know that anywhere I place my solar panel, they will be generating so long as the sun is hitting on them. No, there are positions that when you place that solar panel, it will not properly receive enough energy. It will not sufficiently get the energy it needs from the sun to convert to electrical energy. You need to assess the site, the location where you are going to install those solar panels. You need to assess it to know how the pattern of the sun from morning till evening. Mistake number three is neglecting shading issues. When you are installing your solar panels, you must take shading into consideration. Don't install solar panels where there is shading. You must, look at the trees, maybe you may have chimneys, or you may have projected buildings in between where you're going to install those solar panels. Now, if you have a projected building or trees around the vicinity, the building where you are going to install that solar panel, you should know that during the day, in fact, when the solar panels are supposed to receive much of the sun, the intensity of the sun is high, and the solar panels are supposed to generate at their peak, those trees or buildings will be casting shadow on the solar panels, and this will cause shading, and shading will significantly reduce the efficiency, the energy production of your solar panel. So always carry out a site analysis. Always analyze that site. Always take that site into consideration. Look at the things that will cause shading during the day, and know how you properly place the solar panels, install the solar panels, so that they will not be affected by shading. Mistake number 4: using low quality materials. As a beginner, you should avoid using low quality materials in solar installation. When you use poor quality solar panels, those solar panels will not last long. At times, their cables may get bad. They will not be able to generate efficiently. You'll be having issues with those panels. And there are some panels that you'll see at the nameplate, they will write there the open circuit voltage is maybe 40 volts. Then the short circuit current may be 9 or 8 amps. But when you bring that solar panel, maybe at the end of the day, even when the intensity of sunshine is high, the short circuit current of that panel will be maybe 3 amps. There are some scenarios you may have those kind of issues. Why? Because you are using low quality panels. And when the short circuit current of that panel is low, and it is not high as it is written on the solar panel. When you use those kind of solar panels, even when the sun is high, the client will be telling you, today the intensity of sun is high, but my system just trip off. Maybe after switching on that system for 2-3 hours, it will just shut down. Why? Because the panels were not able to, harness or generate the energy that will be stored in the battery. Also, when you use low quality batteries, because the batteries serve like the reservoir. So when you use low quality batteries, it's like using a reservoir or a tank that is perforated, that have holes. So after pumping in water, the tank will be leaking. So when you need water, you know that what you have there is 5,000 liter capacity. But when you want to make use of it, maybe what you have remaining there is 1,500 or 2,000 liters. Why? Because much of that water has been lost because of the holes you have around that tank. So if you have a poor battery, a weak battery, a low quality battery, even when your solar panels are of high quality and you generate that energy and store in the battery bank, the energy will not last long. Once you switch on the loads, the inverter will start beeping because the batteries are not strong. So they are weak, the cells are weak, the system will shut down. So be mindful, be careful of using low quality panels. So always get your panels or your solar components from reputable companies. If the companies are not in your country or in your location, try to get their dealers number. They are direct dealers, and the companies can send their dealers number in your country representatives to you, and you call them directly so that you can buy those components directly from the source so that you will not have issues. Now, mistake number 5 is incorrect wiring and connections. Using undersized cables in solar installation will make your system to always fail. The cables from the solar panel down to the charge controller, you need to calculate properly size those cables, because the solar panels are generating and current will be flowing through those cables. So the cables should be large enough to carry the amount of current that will be passing through them. So if the cables are undersized, at times they may get burned, they will melt, and the system will not perform well, and that can lead to hazard. Those fires at times can, you may have a fire hazard there. Then the cables from your inverter to the battery bank should also be large enough that they will be able to withstand the amount of current that will be passing through them. If the cables are not large enough, if you switch on your inverter and you connect all your loads to that inverter, the inverter will shut down. So when you are installing your solar system, be mindful of the cables you are using. Do not use undersized cables. Always look at the manufacturer's manual. If it is an inverter, the manufacturer, modern day inverters, they have, specifications. The manufacturer will tell you the size of cable to use. If it is a 24-volt inverter, a 48-volt inverter, a 12-volt inverter, the manufacturer will tell you the proper size of cable to use for that connection. Then for also the charge controllers, the manufacturer will also tell you how the size of cables to use. So that is why you always need to look at the specification sheet of the solar components you want to make use of. Then when you also fail to properly connect the cables, for example, you're wiring your solar panels either in series or in parallel, and you fail to properly place the cables or connect them very well, the panels will not be able to generate well, and you'll be having issues in the system. Now, mistake number 6 is failure to consider future expansion. When you want to install a solar system, you should consider future expansion. This you have to discuss with your clients. If he's going to expand in the future, what appliances is that client going to add? For example, maybe after your load audit or your load analysis, the size of inverter you're going to use is maybe 2 kilowatts or 2 kVA, 2 kilowatts inverter. You can ask your client, what loads do you intend to add in the near future? He may give you 1 or 2 loads. So you need to, scale up that inverter to use maybe 3 kVA, 3.5, or 4 kVA or 5 kilowatts inverter, taking into consideration that in the future this client is going to add more loads, so that when the clients want to add more loads in the future, when you want to expand, you will not need that client will not need to go and buy another inverter. By that time, the inverter may be more expensive. So for now, you can advise the client, since he is having it in mind to, expand in the future by adding more loads. You tell the you recommend a bigger size of inverter for the client. Then another mistake is ignoring local regulations. You must take into consideration the local laws that are guiding the installation of PV systems. So you must take those laws into consideration, so that after installation and commissioning, everything will move smoothly. There are countries that are very strict on that if you're installing a solar system, that solar system must follow the laid down laws, the local laws in that area. Then also overlooking safety precautions. As a beginner, you must take precaution into consideration. Safety is key when you are installing a solar system. When you are installing your solar panels on the roof, you must be careful of the ladder you're using. That ladder must be strong enough to carry you, and also the panel you may be carrying on your shoulder to climb. If that ladder is not strong, it may break, and that can cause accident on the site. Then you should also look at, if the roof is too high, you can use scaffolding. You may use a better platform, so that you should consider your safety first. Don't look at the money you are going to get. Look at your safety. If the roof is too high, know the things you are going to use. Always use harnesses to guide yourself, so that you will not slip. You will not fall from the roof. And if you fall, it's a very dangerous thing. So take precaution. It is key. Even when you're connecting your batteries, doing interconnection between batteries and inverter, be very careful of short circuits. Don't link the positive, don't touch the positive of the battery to the negative of that same battery. That can make that battery to burst. It can make it to catch fire, and it can destroy the apartment of your client, and that will lead you into more trouble. So be careful and take safety first. Safety is the first thing you take into consideration when you are installing, when you're on site and you want to install your solar system. You put on your hand gloves, because at times when you connect the solar panels in series, you are building the voltage. And once the voltage is building, it can become hazardous to you as an installer. Another mistake is skipping regular maintenance. Always carry out regular or routine maintenance on your solar system. After installation, don't leave the solar system for long. Always come, you check the bolts, check the nuts, check the wires. If they are still firmly connected, you check the connections between the batteries and inverter, charge controller, and the battery panels and charge controller. You check all those connections. If they are still intact, anyone that is loose, you fix them. If the nuts on the panels that you have installed on the roof, they are not firm, you carry out routine maintenance on the solar system so that it will last long. And the last one is using AC OCPDs for DC. That is, you have breakers, you have fuse, you have your such protective devices. These devices are rated for either AC or DC. Don't use the ones that are rated for AC for DC. Always check. All those things are always, they are written there. If it is AC, the sign will be there. If it is DC, the sign will be there. So if you're working on, so between solar panels and your batteries, you should know that everything there is DC. So all your OCPDs, that is overcurrent protecting devices, should be DC. Then also between the battery bank and the input side of the inverter is also DC. So what you are going to use there is DC, whether it is fuse, it is breaker, it is disconnect, all of them should be DC rated. Then from the inverter output is AC. So all the protective devices you are going to use on that side of the inverter, they should be all AC. So don't mix up those things, because when you mix them, all of them have their different ratings and capacities. So by the time you begin to mix them up, they will not perform very well. So always take these uh, things into consideration as a beginner when you are installing a solar power system. If you need my PDF on how to size a solar power system, how to choose the various components, just click the link on the description of this video to get the PDF. It is not free. It is something you pay for to support my work. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.